Hello everyone, my name is Kiona Sadowski and I will be retelling the Slavic folktale story of the Emperor's Daughter and the Swineherd. Once upon a time, there was a princess of an emperor who had 3 birthmarks. One was shaped like a star on her forehead, one was shaped like the sun on her chest, and the last one was shaped like a moon on her knee. So when the princess came of age, the emperor declared that she could be married off to anyone who would guess what these 3 birthmarks are, no matter their wealth, whether they were rich or poor, whether their clothes were nice or ragged. One day, the princess was walking along with her ladies-in-waiting, and she came across a swineherd and tending to his sow and her 3 piglets. The princess thought these piglets were so cute. They're just so cute that she went over and asked the swineherd if she could have one. The swineherd looked at the princess and agreed, but only on the terms if he could see her face. And the princess didn't think anything of this, so she lifted her veil over her face so the swineherd could see, so she could gain her piglet. The swineherd gave her her piglet, and she went off back to the castle. And the swineherd, of course, seeing her face, saw the star birthmark on her forehead. The princess's parents were overjoyed in how cute this piglet was, so they asked her if she could get another one. She agreed. She said that the swineherd had 2 more piglets left and she'd probably go get another one. The boy's parents, unfortunately, were not happy that he had gotten rid of this piglet, and they scolded him, but he didn't tell them the truth. He said that the piglet just ran away while he was taking a nap. On the 2nd day, the princess returned, and she came up to the swineherd and asked if she could have another piglet, and he agreed, but only on the terms that she showed him her chest. And immediately she was like, all right, I will show you my chest if you give me another pig. So she shows him a chest, and he ends up seeing the sun birthmark that laid on it. He gave her another piglet, and she went off to the castle, and her parents then again asked if she could get another one. The swineherd's parents were very upset that he had lost yet another piglet and there was only one left. So they scolded him, but he didn't tell them the truth. On the 3rd day, the princess returned and said, well, I would like the 3rd piglet, please. And he replied, I will of course give it to you if you show me your knees. So the princess agreed and showed her knees to the very kind swineherd, and he saw the moon birthmark on there. And so she went off with the last piglet and happily lived in her castle with all 3 of them. Swineherd returned home and was scolded yet again for losing the last piglet of the sow. Later, he asked his mother, can you please cook me some flatbread and some roasted chicken and gather that up with a bottle of wine and a bunch of basil and pack it in a knapsack for me? She kindly agreed, and he grabbed the little boy grabbed the knapsack and went off, telling his mother that he was going to guess the princess's birthmarks, which he already knew since he had seen each of them. The mother was overjoyed and hoped that he would gain such great achievements. So when he arrived at the castle, there was also another man, a Turkish man, who was very rich and very dressed in very nice clothing. He also was going to guess the princess's birthmarks. So when they both went inside and were presented in front of the princess, the Turkish man said to the swineherd boy, you can go first, I already know what I'm gonna say. And so the swineherd's like, okay, and he goes up to the princess and asks, princess, do you have a star birthmark shaped on your forehead? And the Turkish man goes, that's what I was gonna say, like we think just the same way, that's just crazy. And then the princess goes, well, yes, I do have a star-shaped birthmark on my forehead, but what is the birthmark on my chest? And the swineherd boy goes, well, you have a sun-shaped birthmark on your chest. And the Turkish man goes again, I was thinking the same thing. We are like one in the same, like same mind and everything. And the princess goes, great, you guys both know that one. What is the last one? What is the one on my knee? And the boy goes, well, the last birthmark that is on your knee should be a moon. And the Turkish man does it again where he says, that's what I was gonna say. I can't believe you just took the words right out of my mouth. And the princess is a little confused on who to choose because they both say that they knew all 3 of the birthmarks. So there is a plan devised that these 2 men would go and stay the night with the princess. They would lay beside her, and whoever she had turned to the Turkish man or to the boy, by the time in the morning, whoever she was facing, that is the man that would marry her. So they go off to bed, and originally the princess is facing the Turkish man because he's very rich, he has very nice clothing, and she thinks that is the best option for her in her future. So she turns towards the Turkish man, but then the boy goes off outside and decides to squat down in the dark. And the princess turns to the Turkish man and she says, "You must go follow him and do everything that he is doing as well." And so the Turkish man does that, but he can't see anything because it's very dark outside. And so he also squats down out in the dark, looking at the swineherd boy, and he sees that the swineherd boy is eating something, and he can't quite tell what it is. And as the man is squatting, he ends up being relieved of himself and thinks that the swineherd boy is also doing this as well, and that he is eating what he has left on the ground. So the Turkish man is eating what he has left, while the swineherd boy is actually eating the meal that his parents had made him. The chicken and the flatbread and the wine he starts eating. And then once the swineherd boy is done, he rubs his face with the leaves of basil that his mother had packed for him. And this Turkish man, however, does not see this, and he grabs the filth off of the ground and starts rubbing his face in it. So they both go back to bed and lay with the princess, and the princess goes to turn towards the Turkish man, but the Turkish man's face smells horrible, and she can't stand the smell of it at all, so she turns back to the swineherd boy, and his face smells of basil as she lays there and falls asleep next to him. So when they wake up in the morning, the parents see that the princess was facing the swineherd boy, and he gets to marry her. And so he eventually marries her, calls for his parents, and they all live happily ever after. The end.